You ever walk past a yacht club lately and it just feels off? No noise, no energy, no kids sprinting down the dock in life jackets. Just a quiet bar, a half-empty deck, and the same three guys telling the same story about how it used to be. And it's weird, because yacht clubs were supposed to be the heart of boating. They were the place you went when you wanted summer to feel like summer. Now, a lot of them feel like private retirement lounges with slips. So, today we're asking the real question. Are yacht clubs actually dying? And if they are, what really happened to them? Because here's the twist. It's not that people stopped loving the water. It's that the entire maritime world split in half, and the middle got crushed. Stick to the end, because I'm going to give you a simple yacht club survival checklist. If you're a member, thinking about joining, or you run a club, this checklist will tell you in 5 minutes whether your club is adapting or slowly sinking. And yes, subscribe if you want more videos like this, because we're going to keep breaking down boating reality the way nobody else does. All right, let's rewind, because the story of yacht clubs dying starts with the biggest illusion in boating, the COVID bump. For a minute, yacht clubs looked like they were saved. During 2019 to 2021, memberships exploded. Clubs saw insane growth, the kind of growth people hadn't seen in decades. And it made sense. Travel was dead, people were bored, outdoor hobbies were the only thing that felt normal, so suddenly everyone found boating again. People joined clubs, they bought boats, they signed their kids up for sailing programs, and for a brief moment, clubs thought, we're back. But that wasn't a comeback. That was a temporary spike, a sugar rush. And once the world reopened, the crash came fast. Membership slid back down, participation got weird, retention got worse, and the clubs that were already struggling just went back to struggling. Only now with older docks, higher costs, and even less volunteer help. So when people say yacht clubs are dying, they're not noticing a slow decline, they're noticing a hard correction. And here's the deeper truth. Yacht clubs aren't dying evenly. They're bifurcating, splitting into two worlds. Because right now, boating is becoming a two-tier economy. At the top, the platinum tier. Ultra-exclusive clubs, prime real estate, mega-yacht berths, concierge services, global reciprocity, full staff, and members who don't blink at a 5-figure initiation fee. That world isn't dying. That world is thriving. But the yacht club most people think of, the mid-tier, member-run, volunteer-driven club, that's the one taking water. And it's getting squeezed from both sides. It's getting squeezed by the wealthy and by the access economy. And we need to talk about the access economy because that's the real disruptor. Boat clubs, sharing fleets, community sailing centers, memberships where you don't own the boat. You just book it, show up, and go. It's the Netflix version of boating, and it's exploding because modern people don't want the ownership burden. They want the experience. So the old yacht club is stuck in the middle. It's not luxury enough to compete with the platinum clubs, and it's not simple enough to compete with shared access. That's the death zone. And the clubs living in that zone are starting to feel empty. Now let's talk about why the mid-tier model is collapsing, because it comes down to one thing. The volunteer model broke. Yacht clubs were built on sweat equity, that Corinthian ideal. The whole club runs because members do the work. People paint the clubhouse, run races, repair docks, serve on committees, handle finances. That model worked when society had time. Back then, a lot of households had one income. Weekends were open, people had margin in their lives, and you could actually show up and do work hours without feeling like you were sacrificing your entire month. But that world is gone. Now most households are dual income. People work longer hours, kids are in year-round sports, weekends are booked solid. And the very thing yacht clubs depended on, free labor, evaporated. So what happens? The club has to hire staff, dockmaster, general manager, maintenance crew, bar staff, event coordinator. And the moment you hire staff, your fixed costs spike. Payroll taxes, benefits, insurance, compliance. Suddenly the club has overhead like a business, but it's still operating like a volunteer nonprofit. That's the professionalization trap, and it creates a vicious cycle. You can literally watch it happen. volunteer deficit, then paid staff, then dues go up, then initiation fees go up, then young members get priced out, then membership gets older, then volunteer deficit gets worse, then you need more staff, then dues go up again, and now the club is too expensive for entry-level sailors, but still not luxurious enough to justify the price. So it becomes a bad deal for the exact demographic it needs to survive. Now we need to talk about money, because even if the culture was perfect, the math is getting brutal. Boating in general got expensive, but yacht clubs got expensive in a specific way, because the yacht club lifestyle stacks fees on top of fees. You already pay slip, insurance, maintenance, storage, fuel, repairs, and now you add club dues, initiation fee, dining minimum, work hours, event fees. And sometimes you don't even get a slip. You're paying to be part of the club while your boat sits somewhere else. So for a young family, it's not just can we afford boating, it's can we afford boating plus the club package? And for a lot of people, the answer is no. Not because they hate yacht clubs, because it just doesn't pencil out. And here's the thing yacht clubs don't want to admit. Modern consumers do not pay for tradition. They pay for value. And value is measured in convenience, experience, and flexibility. Which brings us to the next killer, culture. Because even when a club isn't that expensive, it can still feel unwelcoming. Say yacht club out loud. Most people picture the stereotype instantly. Blazers, captain's hats, old rules, old money vibes, a membership process that feels like a background check. And yes, a lot of clubs have moved away from that, but the reputation stuck. And modern generations hate that vibe. They want casual, inclusive, fun, no gatekeeping, no weird hierarchy, no you can't sit there. If your club still feels like a 1950s country club, you are not pulling in the next generation. Now add in something bigger, something that's quietly destroying clubs from the inside: insurance. Because it's not just owners struggling to insure their boats, it's clubs struggling to insure their waterfront infrastructure, docks, buildings, liability, named storm risk. And in places like Florida, insurance isn't just expensive, it's unstable. Premiums jump, coverage shrinks, deductibles become insane. Some policies exclude windstorm damage for overwater structures, which is basically like saying, we'll insure you unless the ocean does ocean things. So clubs are forced into a trap, either raise dues to build huge reserves or operate exposed. And for a mid-tier nonprofit club, one bad storm without proper coverage can end the institution. That's not drama, that's reality. And climate risk makes this worse every year. Sunny day flooding, tide intrusion, corrosion in electrical systems, higher storm surge. Docks that were built for the sea level of the 1970s are now being tested by the sea level of today. And updating that infrastructure, it's not a couple volunteers with a wrench, it's a capital project. Engineers, permits, environmental compliance, bulkhead upgrades, floating docks, power upgrades, and the bill is huge. Which leads to the final structural problem. The boats changed, and a lot of older clubs didn't. Modern boats are wider, catamarans are everywhere, yachts are bigger. People want power, they want beam, they want comfort. But a lot of older clubs have slips designed for 30-foot sloops from 1978. Narrow, shallow, low power, not built for wide cats or high-demand electrical loads. So the club ends up with a weird mismatch. Demand for slips is high, but not for those slips. People with expensive boats bypass the club. They go to modern marinas, or platinum clubs, or private facilities, and the mid-tier club loses relevance. So now you've got this perfect storm: volunteer model collapse, professionalization trap, cost barrier, cultural mismatch, insurance pressure, infrastructure obsolescence, boat evolution, and then the access economy shows up and says, hey, want the water without the headache? And people take that deal. That's why boat clubs are winning, because they delete the three things that make ownership miserable: cleaning, cost surprises, capital tied up. You book, you show up, you go, you leave, and someone else deals with maintenance. That model is insanely attractive to millennials and Gen Z, and it's not because they don't like commitment, it's because they're used to paying for access. They subscribe to everything. Why would boating be different? So yacht clubs are losing the middle, not because boating is dead, but because the old format is outdated. But here's the part people miss. Yacht clubs can absolutely survive. Some are thriving right now, and the ones thriving all have one thing in common. They stopped acting like a museum. They modernized the value proposition. So what does that look like? It looks like social marina energy, not members-only dining room energy. It looks like casual waterfront fun, taco nights, dock parties, live music, après-sail vibes, shorts and flip-flops accepted. Families feel welcome. You want people to show up even if they don't race, because here's another mistake clubs make. They build everything around racing, but racing is niche. Most boaters don't want to race. They want sunset cruises, paddleboarding, kayaking, fishing off the dock, movie nights, community events. So the clubs surviving are diversifying. They are becoming water clubs, not just sailing clubs. And they're fixing the biggest barrier of all, boat ownership. Because the smartest clubs are building club-owned fleets, small keelboats, day sailors, maybe even a few center consoles, boats members can use without owning. It's the internal version of the boat club model. And it works, because now a 28-year-old can join, learn, crew, sail, meet people, get hooked, without needing to buy a 40-year-old fixer-upper just to participate. That's how you build a pipeline. That's how you survive. And the final piece? Visibility. Some yacht clubs are invisible online. Websites from 2003, no social media, no easy sign-ups, no schedules, no photos, nothing that makes a younger person think that looks fun. The clubs that thrive, they show up. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, they post the sunset photos, the kids sailing, the dock parties, the casual vibe. They make the club feel alive. Because if your club doesn't show up in someone's feed, it doesn't exist. Now, like I promised, here's your yacht club survival checklist. If you're watching this and you're wondering whether your club is adapting or slowly sinking, listen to this. A club that survives in 2026 does these things. Number 1, it offers memberships that don't require boat ownership. Social members, dining members, crew memberships. Number 2, it has a club-owned fleet or a real shared boat program. Number 3, it feels casual and welcoming, less formality, more fun. Number 4, it offers activities that aren't racing, families, paddle sports, community events. Number 5, it is modern online, simple website, easy signups, active social presence. And number 6, it has an infrastructure plan. Not hope, not we'll deal with it later, a plan. Insurance strategy, reserves, dock upgrades, adaptation. If a club doesn't have those things, it's going to struggle. Not because it's a bad club, because the world changed. And that's the real conclusion. Yacht clubs aren't dying because people stopped loving the water. They're dying because they stopped keeping up with the world around them. The sea didn't change, society did. So the yacht club isn't dead, it's shedding its skin. The middle model is collapsing while luxury clubs thrive and access-based boating explodes. The yacht club is dying. Long live the yacht club. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe for more boating reality, and send this to someone who still thinks yacht clubs are just fine. Because if your club wants to survive, it's time to hoist new sails and catch up with the world.